Hi guys, I'm Andrea and there is an airplane outside.
One eternity later.
Today's video I feel very, intellectual about because I actually wrote notes. Side note, these are literal actual Harry Potter 3D glasses from Deathly Hallows Part 2 that I still have because memories. I want to talk about some of my recent diverse reads, and these are all female authors, and I thought I'd talk about these books this month just because it is International Women's Month in the month of March, and I wanted to get this video done before April because I literally have not spoken about any new books I've read this year. So the first book I want to talk about actually is called Shear and Our King by Sylvia Moreno Garcia, and this takes place in a world where vampires are a thing. They exist, they're real. Mexico is this great country for vampires to go and take refuge in because they are allowed in, A, and B, they aren't in any war or any extreme turmoil or anything like that. So a lot of vampires see it as a very desirable place to make new roots. But the city, Mexico City, is a vampire-free zone. So they try to keep all vampires out of Mexico City. It is humans only. So Domingo is a boy who is just trying to live his life and survive, and Atul is a vampire who is running away from something by hiding in plain sight, and their paths meet and they're never the same again. I think this provides a lot of refreshing new rules to a tired genre, the vampire genre. I had so much fun learning about these new rules in this new world and this kind of new universe that I feel hasn't really been explored in vampire novels, or the ones that I've read, which is like there's a lot of different subspecies of vampires. So you get your traditional like Nosferatu looking German vampires, and you get your like indigenous native Mexican vampires, which is what Atzel is, and they're more like described as bird-like, and they have talons and wings, and it's so fun to read. I love the research that was done. You can tell that there is detailed specifics in terms of geography. There's this one specific scene where they mention in passing there's a lot of Chinese immigrants in the city of Mexicali, and that city is one of the most, if not the largest, area for Chinese immigrants in Mexico in real life. So it's cool to see how Sylvia kind of incorporated that into her own book. This book really deals with themes of like growth and stagnation. Atzel's a character that is used to being a little bit selfish. She's a rich, distinguished vampire from a rich, distinguished family from passed down wealth. But with Domingo, she kind of learns how to be more humble because he's not from any of that. Whoa, I'm falling. And so her foil is Nick, who is kind of like this narco vampire, if you may, and he is just like rotting water basically. He destroys everything and he's kind of infects his way through life, and he's just a mess. Anyways, yeah, if you like vampire, if you like noir, check this book out, it's dope. The next book I want to talk about is Gods of Jade and Shadow, also by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. This book is not out yet, but y'all have to read it when it comes out. Oh my god, this might be my favorite book of 2019 and it's barely March. But this continues the saga of sad supernatural beings and they're humans. Hunkame is a Maya god of death, and he's accidentally freed from a wooden box by 18-year-old Cassiopeia. I think that's how you say her name. And in 1920s Yucatan, Mexico. So the two embark on a journey to find Hunkame's missing body parts because, spoiler alert, this story is really myth building and like folkloric in the sense that there is a giant journey that the heroine and the protagonist have to go through in order to save themselves. So it's very much a ticking time bomb story, which I adore. And I love all the characters, especially the main protagonist Cassiopeia, who is this amazing ball of emotion. She's an icon, she's a legend, we stan her. Queen. I love her because she's such an emotional character. She's so emotionally available, and I appreciate that because I feel like in a lot of these kind of heroine stories, our protagonists, our main characters that are girls, are kind of written to be standoffish and reserved, and there's nothing wrong with that. I myself am pretty reserved in real life, but I like that this book shows that to be strong, you don't have to be feelingless. You don't have to be, stoic. You can show emotions, you can cry. And I like how Cassiopeia's character has a lot of different layers to her. So she's soft, she's strong, she's sweet, she's bitter, she's angry, you know. She's a person who feels really like three-dimensional and like textured and dynamic. It's really cool to see her character against her foil, which is her cousin, because it touches on kind of like the cyclical generational machismo that kind of exists in Latinx cultures. And you know, how boys who turn bitter without love, or what they perceive is the lack of love, and how they kind of feel entitled to be superior because of that emotionalist state. So I kind of really like how those two are kind of placed parallel to each other, and you can see cycles breaking and cycles being created. Like I said, Cassiopeia is such a dynamic character that she doesn't make the ultimate emotional choice at the climax of the book. It's Hunkame who does it, which I thought was so interesting and refreshing to read. This book has such a fairy tale quality to it. There's a time-limited journey, there's a family drama, there's adversaries, there's star-crossed lovers, there's magic and there's obstacles, there's hero, villains, and friends, there's motifs of human weakness and strength that are explored in this novel. I feel like in a lot of books where star-crossed lovers are a thing and where there's a voyage, the female protagonist gets punished because of her strength, and this book doesn't do that. It does the opposite of it, which I think is so like refreshing, and it's everything I wanted in a book basically. And I'm still thinking about it. I literally read it almost a month ago, and I can't stop thinking about this book. It's just so spellbinding and wonderful, and I love it. The next book I read was Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse, and this book was gifted to me by Kylie as my book to Secret Santa, so shout out Kylie. So the story is about Maggie, who's a monster hunter in a post-apocalyptic world where the supernatural roam free on Earth. Her mentor slash lover slash immortal being dumps her and she feels both embarrassed and angry and confused about it. And then she meets a medicine man called Kai, and everything starts to happen all at once basically. So Maggie is a tough character. She really has a hard time letting people in. This dude that left her, that abandoned her, you know, it really affected her and it kind of embarrassed her, and it just makes her feel angry. And I mean, hard relate. There's a definite power imbalance there. This story is a great example of the hero's journey though. I will say that there is that kind of call to adventure, there's challenges, there's rebirth, there's a difference between the known and the unknown world, and kind of coming back from that and returning to your old world's slightly different. So if you put Maggie's two love interests, Desgani and Kai, side by side, they both have, spoiler alert if you care about the ending of this book, spoiler alert for real, so they both have death scenes. And both of their death scenes are put side by side, and they're both caused by Maggie. And the difference of reaction really tells you basically everything you need to know about the characters. The next book I want to talk about is My Sister the Serial Killer by Okigan Braithwaite. I hope I said that right. But literally the title, so this takes place in modern day Nigeria. So Korede's little sister Ayula has a terrible hobby, and that hobby is killing her boyfriends. So she has a little killing problem, and like a good big sister, Korede is always there to help her little sister cover everything up. So things start to change when Ayula starts dating Korede's crush, and Korede has to decide between saving someone's life or helping her sister. Is blood stronger than water? Question mark. This is a story about family, loyalty, and jealousy. I think those are the three things it really boils down to, and it's a really fun dark comedy to read, honestly. Korede and Ayula's relationship is really unbalanced. Ayula definitely takes advantage of her sister's want and need to protect her little sister. Ayula is this really ego-driven person. She kind of thrives on people thinking of her. So Korede's crush is called Tade, and Tade at first seems like this harmless dude who was just living his life, but as the novel progresses and Korede learns more about him, he becomes more infuriating and annoying. He's not malicious, but he is a person that perpetuates and normalizes like misogynistic behaviors. And the last book I want to talk about is We Set The Dark on Fire by Taylor Kim Mejia, and this is another book that I really loved, and it's also Latinx owned voices, and I'm so glad that I got a chance to pick it up. It is political, it is queer, it is very timely. So this is a story about Danny and Carmen, who have just graduated from medio school for girls, where girls are trained for one of two roles in society. Girls are to be married to boys, and they either become primeras or segundas. So primeras are kind of the face of the relationship. They're supposed to be the strategic equals. They're supposed to be prim and proper and emotionless, and the segundas are kind of like the soul of the relationship. They are the baby makers. They are the cooks, the love, basically part of the relationship. So this is set in a distinctly Latinx world that borrows from the culture and corruption of real life Latinx countries, and the world this takes place in is on the eve of revolution, and I really enjoyed how it also borrowed from real life Latinx cultures and revolutionary stories. So our two main characters are Solto Mateo, a sniveling, annoying man boy who wants to dominate both of the girls and kind of be evil. Mateo is part of this corrupt dynasty with rotten power, and power rooted in poverty. Read this book alongside Jocelyn from Yogi with a Book, and one thing I mentioned to her was that I thought it kind of felt like a reverse telenovela, in the sense that, and you know, when you're watching a traditional telenovela, it's usually two very beautiful women fighting over one guy, and they hate each other because of it, and they stay hating each other. They never become friends, and the good girl ultimately wins the dude, and everybody lives happily ever after. The other girl dies tragically, or she becomes poor and has a horrible life. But I think in the sense this book is kind of similar to that, in the sense that you have one guy, two girls, except the dude's horrible, he's an asshole, and the two girls do hate each other, but they end up really understanding each other and vibing and going for each other instead of the dude. And hopefully the dude's the one who ultimately has a horrible life in the end, but we'll find out. I also wanted to talk about some of the real life parallels that I noticed. So in this book, people go missing because of dirty cops, and the first thing I thought of was the missing girls in Juarez, the 43 students missing from Mexico, and the history of killing students in Mexico, most notably in 1968 and in 1971, where hundreds were killed. And I think it really parallels kind of the bloody, violent history of oppression in Latinx cultural countries, and I use Mexico because that's the country I'm most connected with. I'm Mexican, but in all of Latin America, you have Venezuela Libre going on right now, you know. There's so much blood and pain, and I think that all stems from kind of this shared pain stemming from colonization, ultimately. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. I hope you guys are well, and I'll see you next time. Bye.